Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. It's a beautiful morning in Michigan, and we welcome you to a special presentation for Macomb County Executive Mark Hackle and Sheriff Tony Wickersham. The Sutin Award is a very, very special award in the world of criminal justice. I had an opportunity to, got to be short and brief. One evening, Claudia and I were reading. She was doing her research, and I was doing some criminal justice reading, and I saw this announcement about the Sutin Award, and I said, oh my God, I can't believe it. This is Mark Hackle and Tony Wickersham, as I read the description. It was just unbelievable what the requirements are for winning this nationally recognized award. In the world of criminal justice, quite frankly, people who save lives, and they do every day, they put their lives on the line, they save other people's lives, whether it be in the water, pulling people out of cars, working in correctional facilities, but it's not so often that there's an award such as this that recognizes the outstanding contributions that people like Tony and Mark have made to the community at large. The whole Sutin Award is really about collaborations, making partnerships, working in conjunction with the community itself, raising the level of appreciation, if you will, to the community at large for what's being done. I've known Mark for literally years. Having been at the college, I'm aware of the lineage of his family. His father worked at Lincoln High School, advocated for the creation of Macomb Community College. His father was an outstanding sheriff, great public servant, and in turn, Mark began his career as a dispatcher. A very, very stressful job, as we all know, but I firmly believe in my heart that he learned from that experience of working in dispatch, of interacting with the public in 9/11 situations of emergencies that were taking place, needs of people, and that really helped to form his career in some respects in criminal justice, and working up through the ranks and becoming sheriff himself. Consequently, he was involved in many different programs, starting programs such as Making Macomb Your Home, working in a whole variety of grants, improving and expanding the number of contract police services through large communities throughout the nation or throughout Macomb County. It serves as a model for others throughout the nation. He's done a lot. In terms of the jail, I'll never forget one occasion, Mark and I were at the booking desk. He was a young deputy, and we were watching people getting booked. And I said, Mark, this is like Attica Prison. I remember being there, how people were booked, got people coming into the facility. They have issues. They have substance abuse issues. They have mental health issues. We got to do something about this. So you're absolutely right. Lo and behold, 20 years later, after working in conjunction with the Board of Commissioners, we now have under construction a new central intake referral center being planned and developed to deal with people who are mentally ill, have serious substance abuse problems, to finally deal with those issues after the state closed down mental health facilities throughout the nation, or throughout the state as well. There's been things like that. He's worked in conjunction with businesses and opportunities throughout the country, I keep on saying throughout the country because I really feel what Mark and Tony have done in a whole variety of programs that we're all aware of really serves as a model for others to emulate. There's just no question about that. I often think about perhaps a chief of police in Los Angeles County, or maybe a rookie police officer working in the Bronx, or even a police officer in Paducah, Kentucky. If they learn about what Mark and Tony have done in Macomb County and for the region, they might in turn pick up on some of those ideas, have the inspiration to carry on and improve police and community relationships in their jurisdictions to help people save lives, just as they've done over the years. They've had a tremendous career, and so we're so blessed and lucky that we've had them here in Macomb County through this region, and in turn serve as models for others to emulate. That's the reason why I nominated them. Initially, Mark was a little hesitant about it, to be quite honest. thinking it was self-serving, but I finally convinced him, Mark, you got to do this. Somehow, I don't know if you're going to win, but you got to do this just in case other people can learn about what you and Tony have done, and in turn can spread the word throughout the nation, and other jurisdictions can accomplish and try to accomplish what you've accomplished. That in turn is going to save lives, serve the citizens just as you've done in Macomb County. Please, please let me submit this nomination. He was hesitant in doing it, but he finally did, and by the grace of God, he's won this nomination. So we're really blessed to have Rob Chapman and Nicole here from Washington, D.C., the United States Department of Justice, Community-Oriented Policing Services, to present the Sutin Award, which in the world of criminal justice, ever since I've been involved in it since 1966, is really a premier reward. In my mind, it's like winning an Oscar. It's that kind of a reward in the criminal justice system, and we're so thankful that they've done what they've done and to be honored today. So with that, I'd like to introduce Mr. Chapman. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Yeah, this is like the law enforcement and community leadership Oscars without the outfits, I guess. I just want to thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. It's an honor to join so many dignitaries, so many important work, and really most importantly, just to recognize the groundbreaking, innovative, and impactful work that's taken place. And Don, you said it best. That's the whole point of this award, is we want to look at the innovation that we know is happening at the local level and lift it up so that your colleagues in communities across the country can see the important work that you're doing and the impact that it's making. So that is truly the importance of this award, as well as to be able to come out and personally present this award to you. So it's an honor to be here. I also just want to recognize the many dignitaries from across the county, community members, government, law enforcement that's joined for this special occasion. And of course, the two individuals that we're here to honor today. Of course, Macomb County Executive Mark Hackle and Sheriff Wickersham from Macomb County. This is literally the highlight of the year for us, to be able to come out and experience good work ourselves and then be able to go out to others across the nation and tell them about it. So thank you for having us. Partnerships like the one that we're here today to honor are critical. And when it comes to public safety, we know that it's part and parcel with good outcomes. We know that crime often has roots in complex social issues, and addressing those issues requires a multidimensional approach. When law enforcement collaborates with the wide array of agencies that are part of the many initiatives that you have underway here in Macomb County, we know that that's when positive outcomes can occur. A partnership approach like this gets at the heart of the issues and promotes healthier communities in the process. Community policing, with its emphasis on building relationships and trust, is a powerful model that exemplifies the collaborative spirit of these initiatives that we're here to recognize. The project and initiatives that we're here to recognize today is symbolic. It's symbolic for you all. It's especially symbolic for us at the Department of Justice and COPS Office. It's named in honor of one of our leaders at the Department of Justice, L. Anthony Sutin, and the name of the award is the L. Anthony Sutin Award for Innovative Law Enforcement and Community Partnerships, and that's what we're seeing playing out here in this community and communities across the county as a result of your leadership. I just want to give you a little bit of background on the Sutin Award. It was established by the Department of Justice and the Office of Community-Oriented Policing Services, or the COPS Office, in memory of Tony Sutin. Tony was one of the founders of the COPS Office, and at COPS we have a singular mission of supporting policing, good policing, community policing. We're the sole entity within DOJ that reflects the needs and work and provides support, grants, training, and technical assistance to the law enforcement field. Tony served as our principal deputy director before being named the principal deputy to the Associate Attorney General, which is our number 3 within DOJ. A few years later, and that's why the award is so important to us, and we take great pride in administering it, but Tony left the Department of Justice to help start and become a leader at the Appalachian School of Law in Grundy, Virginia. He quickly became dean there at the school, and that particular law school is important because it provides educational services, legal training, a law school to a very rural region of the country that otherwise folks wouldn't have the opportunity to go and receive that legal degree. He was driven by a spirit of service, and he had a true commitment to public service. On a personal note, I had the opportunity, the rare opportunity, to serve under Tony. And when I say I served under Tony, I was way under, but he was an incredible leader for me. I can tell you that it wasn't only his unparalleled intellect that made him a leader and invaluable to the Department of Justice, but it was his heart and it was his commitment to serve and help others. And that really is what this award is about. It's in that spirit that the Sutin Award is given to a team each year whose innovative civic interactions have transformed public safety in their community. Nominees are individuals who have actively engaged with the community in a way that has been sustained over time, and certainly that this might be the best example that we've had in the history of the Sutin Award of sustainment. It can't be a one-and-done approach, and the partnerships have to have resulted in positive, observable public safety outcomes. Nominees promote public safety through their dedication to community policing, and in the process, they create sustainable collaborations that are innovative, creative, and transformative. And the team we're recognizing today is certainly an example of that again. I just want to take a few minutes to tell you about the work that you're very familiar with, but it really is uplifting to talk about it. The unique individual partnerships that we see have played out over decades started back in the 80s when we've heard from Don that two Macomb County Sheriff's Department folks had a chance to form a bond. They made a commitment that their careers would help transform the county's criminal justice system. And again, as you know, they've done just that. Of course, as their careers advanced throughout leadership positions, that impact has only gotten greater, and their work has become that much more important. Once they became Sheriff Wickersham and County Executive Hackle, their work really advanced to the next level. We know that reaching out and collaborating with municipal units of government has resulted in the first community contractual partnerships, which experience community policing across the county here in Macomb County. Many more partnerships and collaborative contracts with community-based providers soon followed for a myriad of services, including providing nutritional meals, medical care, substance abuse counseling, and mental health care. Once the COVID-19 pandemic hit, many service agencies across the county, and indeed across the country, were strained due to increasing needs and emerging community trends. But the partners here worked tirelessly to make sure that county residents didn't suffer. They forged partnerships with nonprofit organizations, businesses, educational institutions, community leaders, and healthcare providers to successfully meet what were the unprecedented challenges and needs that came to us all through the pandemic. They made sure that they accessed all funds that were available, and used those funds to maintain services, to make sure that nobody went without food, nobody went without housing, and they received other critical services. Other projects that I want to quickly highlight that we are enormously proud to honor, and I know you all are enormously proud to have achieved those successes, but I just want to feature a couple of them. The Macomb County Jail Central Intake and Referral Center, we were talking beforehand, this will absolutely be a model for the country. It's an innovative and bold capital improvement and community service project that's intended to be revolutionary and transformative for its clients, especially as it endeavors to serve those dealing with substance abuse and mental health and mental illness challenges. So again, we firmly believe that this is going to serve as a national model for law enforcement and corrections across the country, and we're going to be excited to follow that development. Also, the Safe and Healthy Macomb Initiative has accelerated its efforts to work collaboratively with representatives of law enforcement, the courts, physical and mental health providers, and an array of community partners. These partners are positively impacting the criminal justice system as well as the lives of county residents, and will do so for years to come. From our perspective at the Department of Justice Cops Office, it really is gratifying to see this work firsthand. At the federal level, we see things from a more macro level, but we know that the innovation happens at the ground level. And so just to be here and talk with you all about it and to recognize this work, it really is an honor for us because that's the heart of what we do at the Department of Justice Cops Office, is to support community policing. Some view community policing with more of a narrow focus, but you all knew that your community policing efforts had to be focused on building trust, establishing partnerships, and problem solving through a county-wide approach, engaging with any and all stakeholders to build relationships and solve problems. We know that none of this work is easy. It never is. It takes a commitment, it takes time, it takes resources, but most importantly, it takes the dedication of folks like those who we're here to honor today. In a world where challenges facing law enforcement are multifaceted, extensive, dynamic, forging strong alliances becomes not just a strategy, it's a necessity. So let me just conclude by saying what you already know, and that's law enforcement is not a solitary endeavor. It thrives on unity, collaboration, and shared responsibility. Partnerships like the one we're here to recognize today are the backbone of effective policing, and today's award recipients reflect that. So it's my great pleasure to now present this award to Macomb County Sheriff Anthony, I know you prefer Tony, Sheriff Wickersham, and County Executive Mark Hackle.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Good. All right. Tony, I'm up. Huh? Thank you. Okay.
Okay, I have my prepared remarks, and I know I'll be done before the music starts playing. So, again, thank you, Deputy Director Rob Chapman and the Department of Justice for this award and acknowledgement. I'm honored to receive this award and be part of this ceremony. Thank you, Don, for submitting Mark and I. We appreciate that, and we wouldn't be standing here today if you didn't find this while you were doing research, which you do every night. Also like to thank Jim Sawyer, Mike DeVault, Mark Delden, Karen Smith, Dr. Jim Vardy, Eric Edoff for letters of support. When we talk about community, you know, that is our community. Those are people that we reach out to and we're part of. Partnerships are really the key to success in the criminal justice system, whether it's law enforcement, corrections, courts. You know, we can't do it alone. You know, we have to partner up with our community members. We have to collaborate with our other criminal justice stakeholders, the prosecutor, public defender's office, the courts, probation, parole, you name it, healthcare, community mental health. They all have a part of the criminal justice system. The Central Intake and Assessment Project is a culmination of almost 20 years of persistent collaboration between Mark and I to change the way we conduct business at the Macomb County Jail. I mean, he started the fight back in 2005, you know, and I carried it on in 2012 when I became sheriff. I mean, we have worked hard to get things changed. We did studies that were conducted back in 2005 and 2016 as it relates to the criminal justice system here in Macomb County and what we could do to be better. This project will produce better outcomes for individuals that are remanded to the county jail and also provide a safer environment for the men and women of the sheriff's office that work in a correctional facility every day. The L. Anthony Sutin Award recognizes innovative law enforcement and community partnerships. that transform public safety for our communities. And this project will certainly transform our communities. I am honored to be part of this and be part of positive change here in the Macomb County and at the Macomb County Sheriff's Office. So thank you again for everybody that is attending. Thank you for the letters of support, and have a great day. Mark?
Thank you, Tony, and I will take his time. I'm going to be Jimmy Valvano when they put that thing up there, when they said they gave him a time line. Do you think I care about how much time is on that clock? So, but with that being said, I do want to thank, obviously, Don Ambor. And I say that because I think many of you that do know Don know his style. And probably everybody that was listening to Don when he was trying to tell about how he tried to convince me to accept this award and how I finally gave in wasn't because I realized there was a need for the rest of the world to know what we're doing here. It was because Don was so relentless. And if you know Don, it doesn't end the conversation unless you just finally agree and say yes, okay? So we agreed to say yes, go ahead and put this forward. But the reality is, you know, Don really understands the criminal justice system. He goes way back, having been a jail administrator for the county for many years. I've had a great deal of respect for him. But when he did talk about this award, it was kind of one of those things where you're thinking, okay, Anthony Sutin Award, what is this about? You looked at it and kind of thought, you know, this ain't something that we're going to qualify here in Macomb County, you know. And I have to say it, you know, humbly, I called Tony and says, I don't know what he's thinking, but let's let him run with it. You know, if there's no way it's going to happen. And lo and behold, you know, several months later, we hear that we get, not only were we nominated, but we received the award. It was very humbling. I'm going to be honest with you. I called Tony and basically said, you got to be shitting me. I'm not allowed to say that, but I did say that, okay? I said, you got to be kidding me. We actually won this award. But then when I really started understanding the magnitude of it and the reason for that, it really started to come together. You started understanding, you know, this is more than just one project, you know, that has happened here and a culmination of it. And those that are members from the Sheriff's Department sitting here today, you know, that working relationship we have had for years and decades. Tony and I go way back. Our history started as, you know, new rookie corrections officer, new rookie dispatcher, working within the department and working our way up through the ranks, working with so many people that had like and similar interests and understanding of what public safety really is all about. You know, and I get my training from not only the college and, you know, everywhere else, but one of the things that struck me the most and set with me early on, and thankfully it did, you know, was the foundation of our modern day policing was from a guy, Sir Robert Peel. And I say that because it embedded me, the 9 principles, the Peelian principles, and that 7th principle that was out there, the police are the public, public are the police. The only difference is that we get paid to do what the society should be doing for one another. That's always stuck with me ever since I was a young rookie officer. And everything I did is looked at other officers going up through the ranks and people like Tony and said, you know what, these are people who care about people. It's not about just going out there and arresting a bad guy. You understand that people have constitutional rights. How do we protect those rights? But understand that we are here because the public allows us to be here. And we're grateful for that. And so we had that sense of understanding. And as you got higher up within the ranks, and many of the higher ranking members of the department are here, you come to realize your job now is to understand, you know, the officers that are working for you, do they understand that principle? But as we apply the responsibilities of being public officials or being people that are in administration, are we doing things that are making it better for the people? You know, it's understanding, you know, that's good for law enforcement, but is it good for the people? And fortunately myself, you know, going up through the ranks, I've come to that understanding, you know, and have been, you know, been honored to have been elected as the sheriff. And probably the job I adored most was that 10 years of being the sheriff. There's a lot of impact you could have within the criminal justice system. And even the terminology, cops, you know, I understood, you know, Department of Justice, I understood, you know, the cops program. But that cops thing has always stuck out with me, you know, and it always stood for basically, you know, the community-oriented policing is what I kept thinking. And oftentimes, as you mentioned so eloquently, we talked about that. Rob said, you know, it's not just within a specialization or just one portion of what an organization does. When they started coming up with cops units within the county, you know, within departments, you know, community-oriented policing, I'm thinking that's not a unit. That's a philosophy that needs to be embedded within everyone working within the department. You know, that's what community-oriented policing is. What policing is all about. Each officer is a street corner politician. How do you get things done? How do you work with people within the community to make things happen and have an impact and make things change, you know, within the criminal justice system? And how do we be part of that solution as opposed to part of the problem? How do we come up with some great ideas that are, you know, inventive but transformative as well? And so we've done that, and that's the reason why we're here. You know, we had many places places we could have picked to just kind of do this ceremony. And, this is quite significant. There's, I think, maybe one other person in the entire country or group of people got elected or selected for this. But they only give this award out once every year. And for us to be here, we had to pick a location. And I thought, the location needs to start with, the context center. And I say that for this reason. 30 years in law enforcement, there was a decision to make to run for county executive, did not want to do it. I decided to do it. And the real reason that was for me was, I can take this responsibility and further the advancements of what's happening in the criminal justice system, not just for the sheriff's department, but for all in Macomb County to figure out how do we do things different. But in that doing it different, is it transformative and is it going to better the lives of people within the community as well as those that are trying to get the job done that are responsible for that. So this facility, when I first embarked upon running for county executive, I had an opportunity to say, I started as a dispatcher. Here's an opportunity to do something that is completely different than what others are doing throughout, not just Michigan, but throughout the country. How do we put together, the responsibilities of Department of Roads, emergency management, and bringing on, obviously, what we have with our IT specialists under one roof so that the dispatchers can do more than just be a dispatcher answering a phone. They're now first responders here in Macomb County. They get to see exactly what's happening out on the streets real time based upon the cameras they have. There is more ability for our dispatchers today to help the public with what we created here. And I got to call out one of the ladies that was with me on that, happened to be from emergency management, emergency manager of the year at one point in time, I say that, Vicki Wolber, who's still with us. And Vicki Wolber and myself were the two that came together and said, here's something different we can do. But that collaboration of people that came up through the ranks, and she did just that, working in Fraser and then now coming here to Macomb County, had that same mindset. But many of you sitting here in this room that are part of the public safety, criminal justice, and community responsibilities have that same mindset too. You didn't get to where you're at by just sitting back and thinking, we just need to continue to figure out how do we guide this ship in a direction it's always been going. How do we transform? How do we change? And so here, this context center, again, there's nothing like it in North America for a local law enforcement agency, in particular Sheriff's Department. This is one of a kind and completely transformative, and it's impressive. And thus the reason why I want to showcase it again, to say this is one of the things that we started when Tony and I came together and working together, and how do we change things in criminal justice, this facility right here. But the mindset's always been on other things that are happening, and then specifically this project to talking about, what we're doing with the central intake and assessment. It's been for a long time we've been talking about it. But as we always talked about, figuring out how do we fix the jail and the challenges with the aging jail, our mindset has always been on, this mental health issue that has never been solved within the communities throughout the entire state. And what are we doing? It's happening in our hospital systems that they're seeing. They're inundated. Our schools are inundated. Our workplaces are inundated. Our homes, we're dealing with this. There was no safety net to deal with this issue. And law enforcement, without question, was the one that was impacted most when the state made the changes in closing down facilities. And so we thought, there has to be a change. So that mindful approach towards mental health when we decided to design a new facility was unique, was transformative. We were able to convince the Board of Commissioners, and thankfully so, that the funding that came from the federal government, a good portion of that needed to be allocated towards this project. And they were there with us. Why? Because I think they too understood the need, but they also understood the community in Macomb County was demanding that there be a change and that they be supportive of this project. And so they were. And so we got a tremendous amount of support, even from the Board of Commissioners, elected representatives from all around the county that said, yes, this funding is going to go towards that, and our state partners too. Thankfully, not just the governor, but our state representatives realized the impact this is going to have on the criminal justice system at the state level. So they contributed $40 million. Obviously, that $130 million coming from the federal government, $40 million from the state of Michigan, and now our $60 million on behalf of the Board of Commissioners that we committed to this project. We're going to see a $240 million project here in Macomb County. Yes, it's a facility, it's a building, it's transformative, but I'm going to tell you what's more important than just the facility alone is what's going to happen in that facility. It's groundbreaking, it's transformative, it is our responsibility. And what is that? Is basically dealing with people on the onset when they come in, 24/7, 365, and hopefully, as Tony mentioned, there's only 2 departments that don't have this as a local lockup to bring people in when they first get arrested or come in contact with law enforcement, but we do believe we're going to see the day when they all do. But 24/7, 365, somebody's going to be coming to this facility, and we're working on that right now, is the processing part of that. To manage when somebody comes in, how do we touch them, how do we get an understanding, what are the issues, and as they go through the system, the criminal justice system, we are now dealing with them while they're in our facility, and if they leave our facility, the community-based support is already working towards solutions to help address and assist them. This is, folks, transformative. And Don, you're right. This needed to get out. The word needed to get out, hopefully through the Sutin Award. The Sutin Award that's going, that we just got here today, there's going to be more conversation about this, and there's no question in my mind. This will be a model. Macomb County will once again, not just what we did here with our dispatch facility that we have here, but now we are going to be a model once again when it comes to criminal justice, doing something transformative that addresses things that are always being talked about in the news. Public officials always talk about it. There's funding that's always thrown out there. And here in Macomb County, we took that money and put it towards a project that is our responsibility, that others throughout the country are going to be talking about and coming here to see and try to understand, and I think marvel at what we're about to do. After that building is built, it's constructed, they hand it off to the Sheriff's Department to manage the people in that facility. They are going to see exactly what's happening on the processing side, and we are going to make a difference. So I couldn't be more proud of everybody that's been a part of this and a partnership in this, and obviously my direct partner, Tony, for that understanding and willingness to have these conversations and say, yes, I want to be a driving force behind that as well. Let's make this happen. And so we are making this happen here in Macomb County, and I'll proudly accept this award along with Tony on behalf of everyone who's been involved in this project and the many other things that we're doing here in Macomb County to be transformative, to be different, to lead the way for public safety for the people that we are proud to represent because they elected us to do so in a fashion that is different than just looking at it as a law enforcement officer, but people that care about people within the community. So thank you. Thank you, Rob. On behalf of myself and Tony, I want to thank you for recognizing us, and Don, once again, as well as those that put in the letters of support for allowing us the opportunity to have our day to shine once again here in Macomb County. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm a little shy at photo ops, but we're going to stand up here and do a few if you would like, Tony, myself, Rob, and even Don, and obviously those that put in letters if you get a chance. We are going to have a luncheon downstairs in the other part of this facility that's been transformative. If you get a chance to go see our, what do we call that now, ICC? ICC. So I had a different name for it, but they forced me to use ICC. Vicky and Kim and JP didn't like my first initial terminology. I won't even go down there. But with that being said, right down below, first floor, you're going to have a chance to have something to eat with us. We would appreciate it if you'd stick around and do so. So thank you all for coming again. Appreciate you. Thank you. Come on over, brother.